Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly reading recap for the week of December 7th. It's been a little bit of a slow week for me. We've had a lot of the final projects at school. I'm 32, but I'm still a college student because I took 10 years off before I came back. I only read 10 pages on Thursday. And it's crazy because the only reason I even got 10 pages was because after midnight, before I went to bed on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I read 10 pages after midnight, and then I didn't read any other pages during the day. I didn't have time. It was one of my final classes for my water treatment classes that I'm going through. Let's see here. I did do a little bit. There's a slight upgrade. Hopefully in the video quality that you see is a little tiny bit better. Microphone, I need to remember not to cover that and bump that, so hopefully I sound a little bit better now. That's fun. A little Christmas present to myself. Let's start out here like we always do with an update we have for the Read What You Own challenge. This is the challenge that I embarked upon on November 1st to read 12,500 pages of book that I own here in the home library before I can buy myself any new reading material. There's very slight caveats and exceptions to this rule. I'm in a philosophy discussion group, and we discuss different topics all the time, so if I need to buy a book for that, I will do so. I've had to buy 2 books this month since starting this, which I'll show you those in a later little book haul thingy that we do. This week, I say it was a little slow, but we added 740 pages, bringing our running total to 4,131 pages of our 12,500 page goal. This doesn't count pages that I've read today. I've gotten about 100 pages in today. So this counts up until yesterday, which was day 36 in our little challenge here. 33% of the goal. So we're getting a little bit closer to making up a bit of lost ground. My goal was originally to have about 1% a day. I fell a little bit behind, and I'm slowly picking up a little bit of steam on that. We're still basically right on par to where we want to be. I only finished 1 book this week, and that is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. Book 2 of The First Law. I'm a big watcher of BookTube here on YouTube, as I think most of us participants on it are. The consensus seems to be among the readers that book 1 is the weakest, and then for a lot of people, it kind of gets better and better and better. They like book 2 better than first one. Book 3 is kind of universally considered the favorite. So far, I found this one to be about a half step down, I would say, for me, from the first book. This was very good. I think a lot of people generally like this a lot more because there is more of a plot. The first one was basically pure character work, a lot of introducing everybody, and then just really getting to know all of these characters. This one is definitely, as I said in last week's reading report, that this is definitely taking the chess pieces and starting to move them and play the game with them. I did enjoy that a whole lot. The messages in this, the subversions of expectations, this does not end up where you think it will, and I definitely wholeheartedly appreciate that, and I respect the hell out of this book. It's very excellently done. Half a step down from the Blade itself. Now for what I'm reading, I had to, of course, jump directly into The Last Argument of Kings. This is the one that everyone says is the best. I am currently, at the time of filming, I'm 214 pages in. of about 600. There's obviously not a whole lot I can really talk about this before getting into like full spoilers for the first two books, really. But I'm liking it. There's some character developments that they started in the previous book before they are hanged, which they're moseying a bit further down the lines of that. Some of them I really like, some of them I'm not. I'm kind of just, yeah, sure, whatever with. I'm not, there's nothing that I dislike. I still have this much book, and I have a list of characters that I think Joe might try to kill. Some characters who are kind of my favorite right now that I'm just thinking I'm thinking he's giving us a little bit of extra time with some of these characters that I really like, and I'm kind of picking up that I think he might be about to kill some people that we really like. If he does that, that's going to be that might actually raise my score just for like emotional impact type shit, which is something that I really love and go for. Um, it's excellent. It's written very well. Each one is kind of the first one is written very competently and very professionally. I can see it was, however, his first novel. His, if I'm correct, it was his first published novel, and then as these go on, you can really definitely see Joe growing into something spectacular, which makes me extremely excited for the next 6 books in this series. Excellent. Everybody go and read it. I think I'm the last person to tell you about it here on BookTube, but there you go. Along with The Last Argument of Kings, I'm continuing my reading through Ursula K. Le Guin's Always Coming Home. Here is the dust jacket. I am reading through predominantly in my Library of America expanded edition here. I have worked my way, oh geez, I'm actually pretty far into it now. I am 375 pages of just about 800, roughly about halfway here. This is such a mixed bag, and I must say it is weighing on me. It's dragging on me a bit. There's parts of it that I love, there's parts of it that I'm not loving. There was a whole section of plays in this about 20, 30, 50 pages back, which I could not get along with pretty much whatsoever. Right after that, there was another poetry section. I love Le Guin's poetry. The poetry in here kind of just reads a lot like just more Le Guin poetry, like I would get in the big book I have. There are a whole lot of like biographies in here of these people, which I am definitely, I think that's the best part. There's a multi-part autobiography section called Stone Telling in here, which it'll go Stone Telling 1, and then it will be like a bunch of poems and a bunch of charts and a bunch of everything else you could imagine. Then Stone Telling Part 2, and then the plays, and then more poems and more of these biographies. And I think Stone Telling 3 is coming up here in just a little bit, but that's definitely the meat and the potatoes of this that I'm getting so far. Tonight, before I go to bed, I'm going to be reading a chapter here, which is just called Dangerous People. I'm not exactly sure. Oh no, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm having fun. It's great. It does feel a little bit long. I'm getting into how I spoke previously that this reminds me a lot of a similar novel that she wrote called Sea Road, which I could not get along with that book whatsoever. This is definitely doing better, but it's starting to drag on me in ways that are reminding me of what dragged that book down for me. So I'm about 215 pages into The Last Argument of Kings. I should be finishing that up. Let's see. Today's Sunday. I'll finish that up by like Wednesday ish or so, somewhere in there. Next couple days. After that, I am jumping back into The Wheel of Time. This is my second attempt at reading The Wheel of Time. The very first time I read it, I tried to read it. I got through book 5, so I have read this before. It was 10 years ago. I read these. I believe it took me close to a year or so, somewhere around. It took me a while. They're big chunker books. Then I just made the decision that this book series was going to take up predominantly like the rest of my life at that pace, was how I felt. Obviously a bit of an over exaggeration, but I put it down. And since then I've gone through and I've collected hardcover copies of the entire series, and I began reading them again mid to late last year. And now that I'm book 5, I'm in a mode and I'm in a mood to where I know I can definitely bust out at least the next 2, 3, 4 of these things here pretty quick, and I'm definitely in the mood. This is a big ass long book. A lot of these, the first couple of these are big ass long books, so there's not a whole lot that I really remember about this book. I do remember that there's a lot of split between the party. If I'm not mistaken, I think like the ladies are off trying to pretend to be dye merchants to get intel on something or something, but that's kind of the only thing that I remember. So very excited, very stoked to get back into this, because once I'm past this, I have it on next month's TBR that I'm trying to slowly build here out for myself. I've got book 6 on there, penciled in. So I really look forward to getting further into the Wheel of Time than I did previously. I need to finish this shit. I need to read this shit. So that's everything that we read, we are reading, we're going to read. Let's take a look. Next week on the channel, I'm basically going to repeat what I said on last week's video. Next week, you can expect the November reading review and potentially the book haul that were expected this week, but I forgot that it was finals week, so I didn't get to make any videos. So hopefully you guys can get that next week. And hopefully I won't have to say next week I'll make a video over the 3rd week in a row. All right. Let me know what you guys are reading down in the comments. Cheers.